Hello! In this video I will use a clamp meter to do electrical current measurements in a car. Since we are dealing with high currents, regular multimeters are not up to the task. Therefore, I will use this clamp meter. Clamp meters allow us to measure high electrical currents without interrupting and opening circuits. In cars, we deal mostly with direct current, but most of clamp meters can detect and measure alternating currents. This one is useless for automotive applications. There are also more expensive clamp meters that measure both AC and DC currents. This one here measures AC and DC voltage and AC and DC current, as well as frequency, capacitance, resistance, continuity, temperature, and is equipped with some cool features. One of them I will use to capture the highest measured value. The meter is set to 600 amps DC. Zero display and set maximum. Clamp the meter on the negative battery cable. It doesn't have to be negative, but in my case it is better to go with the single negative cable. I will explain later why. As you can see, there is already certain current drawn. There are systems in a car that never sleep, but the general rule is that the current should not exceed 15 milliamps. Keep in mind that it can be different for different cars. In this case, the door is open and a small red lamp is lit. On the other hand, I would not rely on this meter to measure small currents below 1 amp in this environment. To test for parasitic currents, I would rather use regular multimeter connected in series to the battery. But then, I cannot start the car. Or I would use this kind of amp meter that can be plugged into a circuit via a specific circuit fuse. You can watch my other video dedicated to this tester. Back to my test. Crank the engine and the meter recorded over 200 amps drawn from the battery to spin the crankshaft with starter. Now I can cancel the memory, zero the meter, and measure the current. The alternator is charging the battery with 3.8 amps current. This is important information. Last summer, the ground cable went loose on the alternator. There was an electrical connection, and the warning light on the dashboard didn't indicate any problem, but there was. The alternator was not charging the battery, and the car eventually died on the highway. When I test the cable from the alternator, I see that it pushes over 36 amps into the car's systems. 3.8 amps go to charge the battery. Headlights on, 2 fuel pumps running, and so on. All of it adds up to over 36 amps. Keys turned into ignition without starting the engine. Initial current goes up to 26 amps, then drops to 18, and then to 0. With ignition on, fuel pumps are energized to prime the system. But since RPM sensor doesn't see engine running, the computer shuts down the pumps. This meter can be used for many other tests, but we must remember to use it on a single lead. Measuring in and out current together will show faulty readings, if any. Take a look at my battery. There are several cables connected to the positive terminal. Measuring current even on a single cable here can pick up currents in transit from the alternator to the other systems in the car. That is why cranking and charging was measured on the single negative battery cable. Obviously, we can measure at the same time voltage on the battery, but in this video we focused on the current measurements. Till next time.